Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma rabbi zidni ilma. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome dear students in the subject of Internet Architecture and Protocols. It's Ghulam Yasin, lecturer in Computer Science, University of Education Lahore at DG Khan campus. Dear students, our lecture topic is continued and today's lecture topic is again VLAN. We have discussed some points, some techniques about VLAN in our previous lecture. So these are contents of lecture. To identify what a VLAN is and how it operates, to configure a VLAN to improve network performance, to identify what role the switch plays in the creation of VLANs, to identify how network devices communicate with VLANs, and to observe the advantages of VLANs. So inshallah we will discuss some more contents of VLAN in our today's lecture. VLAN advantages. VLANs, virtual LANs, provide the ability to define broadcast domain without the constraint of physical location. So we have discussed about broadcast domain. What is broadcast domain? This is a separation of a subnet, or this is a separation of subnetwork. So if the physical location of any network is on its first floor, you can easily create VLAN on third floor. On third floor, there is a virtual local area network, but it is not necessary to create a physical network on floor 3. So the whole physical network, whole deployment of devices, deployment of switches or servers may be at floor 1, and the other different departments, other different VLANs may be on different other floors. So there is an example. For example, instead of making all the users on the third floor part of the same broadcast domain, you might use VLANs to make all of the users in the HR department part of the same broadcast domain. So instead of keeping all the devices, all the users, all the PCs on a single floor, with the help of VLANs, a network administrator may be able to define these different devices to create VLANs on different floors. Second point, the benefits of doing this are many. Firstly, these users might be spread throughout different floors on the building, so a VLAN would allow you to make all of these users part of same broadcast domain. So these users are working on different floors. Let's suppose these are deployed on 10 floors of a single building, but the broadcast domain is 1. When the message is being transmitted from floor 1 to floor 5, these two floors, or the users of these two floors, will belong to a same broadcast domain. So this is main advantage of VLAN. VLAN advantages. The benefits of VLANs include security, segmentation, and flexibility. So what is security? Because while creating any network, security features are very important. So if we have created 2 or 3 different VLANs, all the VLAN are independently treated. So all the users in a single VLAN or single broadcast domain must be observed by network administrator, so by which we can enhance the security. So second is segmentation. Segmentation is division. So a large local area network including 300 or 200 PCs may be divided into different small chunks, maybe of 15 chunks of computers, So by the segmentation, network management is very easy. By the dividing a large network into smaller network, network administrator may be able to manage the small network easily. Flexibility. This is another feature or advantage of VLANs. We can enhance or we can add more devices with the help of this VLAN concept. So this VLAN provides the feature of flexibility, the feature of enhancement of a network, the feature of extending a network without changing the physical infrastructure of a network. So VLANs provide different types of features, different types of advantages, security, segmentation, and flexibility. Main three benefits are provided by virtual local area networks. VLAN advantages. To that end, this can also be viewed as a security feature. Since all HR users are part of the same broadcast domain, you could later use policies such as access list to control which area of the network these users have access to, or which users have access to the HR broadcast domains. So dear students, we implement ACL access control list to create security feature, to enhance security feature. So VLAN provides this feature of security. As we have also discussed in our previous slide, security feature may be enhanced with the help of implementation of VLANs. Second point, furthermore, if the HR department's server were placed on the same VLAN, HR users would be able to access their server without the need for traffic to cross routers and potentially impact other parts of the network. So this is another important concept. If the server is placed on same virtual LAN, then HR users will bypass the different policies implemented on router. So with the help of switches, these users may be able to communicate, may be able to transfer data in same broadcast domain or even in other broadcast domain with the help of any other connected switch or any other connected bridge. So these are advantages of VLAN, and security is main feature provided by VLAN. Defining a VLAN. On almost all switches today, all ports are part of VLAN 1 by default. So all switches contains the feature of VLAN implementation. So there are some basic parameters configuration by which VLAN is easily implemented by network administrator. If you want to implement additional VLANs, these must first to define in the switches software. So with the help of switch softwares, we can easily modify the VLAN ports, and then ports must be made members of that VLANs. So if there are 24 ports and we want to divide these 4 ports into 3 portions, VLAN 1, VLAN 2 and VLAN 3. So first 8 ports will be for VLAN 1, next 8 ports for VLAN 2 and next 8 ports for VLAN 3. So first portion will be for, let's suppose, HR department, second portion for finance department and third portion for examination department. Although all these departments are physically connected to single switch, but logically these 3 departments contains 3 different subnetworks. And these 3 different subnetworks are VLAN 1, VLAN 2 and VLAN 3. Defining a VLAN is not limited to a single switch either. What does it mean? This means that if a VLAN, let's suppose HR department contains 15 users and 10 users of this HR department belongs to switch number 1 and remaining 5 users belong to switch number 2. So there is a VLAN and this VLAN is of HR department, and this department contains 15 employees or 15 users, but these users are connected with two different switches. So it is not necessary that a VLAN must connect to a single switch. Second point, if trunk links are used to interconnect switches, a VLAN might have some ports on one switch and some ports on another. So just I have discussed, if there are 15 or 20 users, maybe half users will be connected to switch number 1 and the remaining half users may be connected to switch number 2. Last point, the logical nature of a VLAN makes it a very effective tool, especially in larger networking environments. So if there are, let's suppose, 500 PCs in local area network for any company, the management of these 500 computers is not very much easy. But while creating VLANs of 20 computers or according to the needs of department, it is much more easy to manage the smaller networks. So VLANs main important feature is network management as well. Although there are different other features, we have discussed security, segmentations, flexibility, but one more main important feature is network management. So with the help of VLAN, network administrator may be able to handle, may be able to manage these smaller network in more convenient form. How to implement VLANs? In order to implement VLANs in a network environment, you shall need to layer 2 switch that supports them. So the first important requirement is LAN 2 switch. Second point, almost all switches sold today that are described as managed switch provide the ability to make ports member of different VLANs. So nowadays latest series of switches contains the feature of VLAN or feature of implementation of VLAN. Third point, however, switches that don't provide any configuration function, such as many basic lower end switches don't provide the ability to configure VLANs. So previous models of different switches, there is no capability to create VLANs. So with the help of those switches, we would not be able to create VLANs. So those switches can't be used in any network to create VLAN, but those switches may be able to use to create local area network. So to create local area network, there is no compulsion, but to create VLAN, there is compulsion that the switch must be able to provide the feature of implementation of VLAN. Last point, almost any Cisco Catalyst switch, Cisco is a company which is manufacturing company for different internetworking devices like router and switches, that you shall come across today provides the ability to make ports part of different local area networks or VLANs. So latest Cisco Catalyst series switches are able to provide the feature of VLAN implementation. Ports in VLANs. VLANs are only implemented on configurable switches, as we have discussed in our previous slide, that only those switches will be used to create VLANs which are configurable switches. Second point, each switch port can be assigned to only one VLAN, so a single port will be used for single device. Ports in a VLAN share broadcast, so single VLAN contain a single broadcast domain, so this is a broadcast domain concept. Ports that do not belong to the same VLAN do not share broadcast. So if a device is in VLAN 1 and if a device is in VLAN 2, so these two devices are in two different broadcast domains. So these two devices can't be able to share same broadcast domain. For example, two different departments, HR department and finance department. This control of broadcast improves the network's overall performance. So we have discussed many times in our VLAN lecture that VLAN provides security, VLAN provide network management feature, VLAN provide configuration, VLAN provide segmentation features as well. So with the help of VLAN to control, to manage the large network is very much easy by the network administrator. Defining VLAN, a port by port. VLANs are defined on a switch on a port by port basis. That is, you might choose to make ports 1 to 6 part of VLAN 1 and ports 7 to 12 part of VLAN 2. Just this important main point is very much important to understand the concept of VLAN. If we want to create two VLANs, if we want to create two subnetworks, if we want to create two different departments, local area networks, let's suppose there is a single LAN, there is a single switch, but there are 12 computers, there are two departments. So 1 to 6 port will be for VLAN 1. So this may be HR department having 6 employees, and likewise port number 7 to 12 of the same switch will be allocated for finance department, this department also having 6 employees. So in this way a large network is divided into two smaller networks. Last point, there is no need for ports in the same VLAN to be contiguous at all. You could make port 1, 3 and 5 on switch port for VLAN 1 for example, and so on. A second main concept of VLAN in this slide is that we can use port number 1, port number 3 and port number 5 for VLAN 1, and we can use, let's suppose, port number 2, port number 6, port number 8 and port number 20 for VLAN 2. So there is no compulsion of contiguous or continuous uses of ports for one VLAN. So we can use any port for any VLAN, but this may be logically divided with the help of software. You can see in this slide two switches, and there is VLAN 1 and VLAN 99. So these are VLAN numbers. So VLAN 1 or VLAN 10 or VLAN 99. So these are different numbers allocated to VLAN, and after that logical division is being shown over here. Logical division for VLAN 1, logical division for VLAN 99, and on the same method at the switch number 2 you can see the logical division of VLAN 1 as well as the logical division of VLAN 99. So any VLAN may be used any port of switch. So this is basic concept of VLAN, configuration of VLAN at different ports of configurable switches. VLAN trunking protocol, this is our next topic which we will cover in this slide and next slide. VTP is a layer 2 messaging protocol that maintains VLAN configuration consistency throughout a common administration domain by managing the additions, deletion and name changes of VLANs across the network. When the network administrator will create VLANs, definitely there must be some departments, there must be some users. So those departments must contain some name, those devices must contain some names, and after the addition deletion of that devices means eliminating the devices from the ports, or removing the devices from the ports, removing the devices from VLANs. So VTP domain is on or several interconnected switches sharing the same VTP environment. A switch is configured to be in only one VTP domain. So VTP or VLAN trunking protocol is used to control this type of configurations or different administration. So this is important layer 2 protocol which is implemented to create to manage VLANs. VTP, this is last slide of our today's lecture. The main purpose of VTP is to provide a facility by which individual Cisco switches can be managed as a group for VLAN configuration purpose. So VTP is a protocol which is used for the management, which is used for the configuration of VLAN on switches. For example, if VTP is enabled on all of your Cisco switches, the creation of a new VLAN on one switch make that VLAN available on all switches with the same VTP management domain. A VTP management domain is simply a group of switches that participate in sharing VTP information. So if we combine two or three different switches which are part of VLANs, with the help of VTP management domain, all these switches may be able to transfer data among themselves. So dear students, we have completed the concept of a VLAN as well as VTP, but some more topics regarding VLAN will be covered in our next lecture, and that will be last lecture regarding VLAN or virtual local area network. So dear students, thank you very much for your concentration, for your learning, for your passion. I hope best of luck for all of you always.